Back in 2001, Acura introduced the brand's very first in-house developed sports utility vehicle, the MDX, and sales quickly took off. Here we are 2 decades later, and the current MDX is halfway through its 4th generation, immersed in a marketplace full of new entries. In an attempt to keep the MDX on top, Acura has decided to sharpen the claws of its sales leader by giving it some new exterior styling, some passive and active safety enhancements, and perhaps most importantly, big technology update inside. I'm here at Kirby Studios, just outside of Los Angeles, with the refreshed 2025 Acura MDX. Let's take a first look. Hey guys, so I'm Rob. We'll address the elephant in the room. I'm clearly not Sofyan. He was unable to be here today because he's actually at another event over in Barcelona, the poor guy. But we're here to talk about the MDX, so let's jump into it. Before we start talking about the exterior styling enhancements that Acura has made to the refreshed 2025 Acura MDX, let's go ahead and take a look underneath the hood where there unfortunately are no changes. We'll start with this Type S model, and honestly there didn't need to be that many changes. It's still a 3-liter single turbo double overhead HAM direct injection V6. Unfortunately there is no VTEC on this engine or on the advanced trim that's over there. That one over there we'll get to in just a moment. It still has a 3.5-liter naturally aspirated V6. This Type S model develops 355 horsepower and 354 pound-feet of torque. It has a 10-speed automatic transmission that's been beefed up by Acura for quicker shifts. It has standard super handling all-wheel drive. Last time we tested this car out, we got a 0 to 60 time in about 5.5 seconds. We don't have fuel economy numbers for this refreshed 2025 MDX, but the pre-refreshed model got 17 in the city, 21 on the highway. We should be getting pretty much the same amounts for this refreshed model. We'll be sure to have Sofyan test this model at home and see what he can get in a week's worth of testing. All MDXs will still tow 5,000 pounds, and we expect this Type S model to weigh about 4,500 pounds. Let's go ahead and shut the hood on this Type S model. As you can see, it is held up by struts, which is nice. Something to note is that the MDX will still have a base trim. Today we're only going to be showing you the Type S and the advanced trim over there, but there will be a base trim of the MDX available still. This Type S model is painted in a beautiful, beautiful shade of urban gray. The studio light doesn't always take out everything that you can see with the details, but it just really is a beautiful paint color. There's some fleck that I'm sure will show up better in the sunlight, but for now we'll have to settle for these studio lights. The MDX Type S now has some enhanced front styling details. You can see the grille is still wider than the other models. You still have the Type S badge right here. The Acura logo is front and center, looks great. Over here you have some new piano black trim at the bottom. LED fog lights will be standard on the Type S. All MDXs will have the chicane style full LED headlights, LED turn signal, and 4 individual LED diodes. Something you can't see, but it is right here in the bumper, is one of the new radar sensors. Acura has enhanced the safety of this car by giving it 2 new radars, one in the front left and one in the front right. The ones in the rear are still there. It was there from the pre-refresh as well. These will enhance the safety features of the vehicle. Acura told us that it is able to see further out with the radar, and the camera that's up top in the front has also been enhanced. It's a bigger camera, it has better range and better width. Nothing has changed as far as the dimensions with the MDX. It is still 78.8 inches wide. It has great road presence, especially if there's one behind you with those LED headlights on. Moving around the side, the first thing that you're going to notice are these beautiful new wheels. They're 21-inch wheels, 275 by 40 profile. They are all-season tires, Continental cross contact. They look really beefy. You can see how aggressive these tires look on the Type S. The wheels have a new Berliner black insert, 5-spoke. There's so much more space on the inside. You can see right through to those brake calipers and the rotors. Those have not changed. They are still a 4-piston Acura branded brake caliper. They look really, really great, and I'm sure they'd give a lot of good performance. They still have a black trim on this as well. The Type S and the A-Spec will give you a black trim, whereas the Advance actually has body colored molding. The overall length is 198.4 inches. Ground clearance will vary on this Type S model. We actually have an adaptive air suspension. It will actually vary from 6.7 inches all the way up to 9.4 inches, depending on what mode you want to have the car in. All Acura MDXs will come standard with a full panoramic moonroof. The Type S is no different. Lets in lots of light. We'll show you guys that when we get inside. Moving over to the back of the vehicle, there's not that many styling enhancements with the Type S. They still have the black accents, the quad outlet exhaust. The Acura engineers that were here were actually telling me that the Type S MDX has a very similar system to the TLX Type S. It's not the same though. Obviously the piping is going to be a little bit different. Acura was nice enough to give me a TLX Type S loaner car to drive here while I was in the Los Angeles area, and I went ahead and took a little clip of it this morning so you guys can get an idea. The MDX is going to be a little bit softer and less aggressive, but it still sounds great. Obviously, the MDX is designed for a little bit different consumer. Families want something that's a little bit quieter than the TLX, but it still sounds pretty great. You can see there's still full LED taillights, LED turn signals, your running lights. There is a black badging from the dealer option. This one right here has the standard chrome badging. Looks really great, especially in this color. All MDXs will come standard with a power tailgate. Behind the third row here, you can see you have a generous 16.3 cubic inches. Plenty of spaces for groceries, bags, backpacks, those sort of things. You have a power outlet right here, and you also have a leveling suspension button here where if you want to move it, press that, you can have the MDX lower itself so it's easier to get things in and out of. If you lift this up right here, you have pretty generous underfloor storage. Not super deep like an Odyssey or anything like that, but enough to put a couple things down there. If you want, you can go ahead and pull these levers to fold these down. And you can see, if you fold down the third row, you have 39.1 cubic feet of cargo area. Pretty generous for the segment as well. You can also fold down the second row, which I'm not going to be able to do because I'm not quite long enough to do that. 71.4 inches. Although if Alex wants to help here, who's been backing me up, seeing as how this is not my expertise. And he pressed the wrong button, so let's see, there we go. If you fold down that, you actually get 71.4 inches. I'm sorry, 71.4 cubic feet of total storage area for the MDX Type S. Now, before we move away from the Type S, I do want to mention that the Type S now comes standard with the Advanced package. That used to be an option. The Advanced package is going to give you things like a heads-up display, 16-way front power seats, soft touch Milano leather, 9-way massaging, heated rear seats, and a surround view camera. There are a whole bunch of different trim hierarchy options here. There will still be a base option for the MDX. In addition to that, you're going to have a tech package. You'll also have a A-spec package, with or without the Advanced package. This one right here that I'm showing you is the Advanced package without the A-spec. So you're going to notice a couple styling differences here. This color here is called Liquid Carbon, which is a very similar color to the Urban Gray, but it's a little bit more metallic. It is also a beautiful color. I will say that there's been a lot of grays and whites and blacks available in the luxury SUV segment. I wish Acura would give the options a few more things you can pick from. I know that right now Sophiane is seeing a beautiful purple Porsche. A purple MDX would be interesting, but maybe not for the target consumer here. You can see here the lower front fascia has some styling differences from the Type S over there. You've got some functional vents that go all the way to create an air curtain over those front wheels. Again, you will not be seeing the front radar sensors because this does not have the full 360. I'm sorry, Acura Watch 360 as the MDX Type S does. The 360 is only available on the Type S, unfortunately. Now moving around the side, something else you will not see here is the base wheel, which is a 19-inch wheel. This advanced trim has a 20-inch wheel. It's a 255/50 R20 tire. This rim is a little bit not to my liking. I definitely prefer the Type S wheels over there, but this will do for the advanced trim. It looks pretty good. One thing you will notice is that the arch molding here is painted on the advanced trim. That's the only trim that's going to get the painted trim. You still have the option for the black accents with the A-spec trim and the Type S over there, obviously. The specifications as far as the length are the exact same between the two. Moving around the rear, something that the advanced package also gives you are the darker accents inside of the taillights. They've removed some chrome here and giving you more dark accents in the taillights to make it look a little bit more aggressive. The exhaust outlets are a little bit different, just 2 exhaust outlets compared to the 4 that are over on the Type S. Everything else as far as the interior cargo area is the same between the two models. Before we move to the interior of that Type S over there, I do want to show you the espresso color This seat right here was actually taken from the previous pre-refreshed Type S. It has the massage as well. Something that Acura is proud of is that the massage feature is actually available not only on the Type S. It used to be available only on the Type S, but it is now also available on the advanced trim of the MDX. All right, so let's go ahead and move inside the refreshed 2025 Acura MDX. I know Sophian always likes to show you guys the key fob. I actually only have the key fob for my loaner that's here with me, but it's gonna be exactly the same. This is a standard Acura key fob right now. It's actually really nicely finished. I like the red line for the Type S models. If I can get it to focus here, you have your usual options to remote start the vehicle with the top button there, lock, unlock, and you can open up the tailgate. This is a power one. Obviously the one that I have right here is for the TLX, so it'll be slightly different there. If you walk up to the vehicle, you can see you have a ridge right here to lock and unlock. You can press the button right there if the key is there. The mirrors will electrically fold. You also have things like a LED indicator for the turn signals, which is nice. Opening up the vehicle, you can see a really nicely finished interior. There's a couple of new things here with the seat that I want to point out. The side bolstering has this material here that is a little bit new. This is the orchid interior. There's also the espresso that I showed you just previously and a red. Looking at the door panels here, this is a real wood. You now have the Bang & Olufsen sound system. This is going to be exclusive to the Type S, where you have 31 speakers. That is a lot of speakers. There was not a wattage that was actually given. However, there's 2 amplifiers and an 8.8-inch subwoofer, 12 speakers in the headliner. That's a lot of speakers in the headliner. I'm not even sure where they are. I'm sure it sounds fantastic. I will not be able to test it here today, but I'm sure Sophian will be able to do that when he's back home for a week. The material here, this is something that I've always questioned Acura. This up here is not a a stitched leather material. It is soft touch. However, I think it should be a leather stitch material. You do have nice leather down here with real stitching. Where your elbow goes is real nice as well. There is stitching down here. Down here it is a soft touch material, but it is a little bit on the scratchy side. Some storage and some more speaker grills for that stereo system. The windows here, 1 touch down, 1 touch up, as well for the back. 1 touch down, 1 touch up. So it is all 4. Hey, Alex. Alex, thanks for the help, appreciate that. Going ahead and stepping inside here, it is a really nice place to spend time, like I said. Unfortunately, I am a little bit taller, so I'm going to move the seat back just a little bit. Sophian is shorter, but I am not. I'll close the door here, and as Sophian would say, it has a really nice closing sound. I'm not going to call it a bang or anything like that. I'll let him give you that opinion when he has that car. Now, the centerpiece for this new refreshed MDX is obviously going to be this new screen. I'm really glad that Acura seems to be listening to consumers as far as feedback. They've done things like, giving the Integra Type S an active exhaust with crackles and pops that sounds amazing. And now they've gotten rid of, like I said, that True TouchPad interface. It was never a bad idea, but I was never a huge fan of it. It used to be where you had to do one-to-one positioning. This is obviously a wireless phone charger, so it's not going to look exactly the same. But you had to move your finger where you wanted on the screen, and it just wasn't super natural for me. However, if you liked it, that's great, but they've now gone to where you're going to be using things that you're used to. This is now a touchscreen, so you can do things like hit home. This is the Acura system. This is a Google branded system. Android Auto and Apple Wireless CarPlay is going to be standard. You can do things like hook up your CarPlay, and Alex was nice enough to give me his phone since I'm filming with mine here. Something that Sophian really likes is this button in the upper left hand corner. If you hit that, you can make the CarPlay bigger or smaller. You still have your sidebar over here where you can look at different things like your driving range, your navigation, your music. But I obviously think this looks a little bit better when it's wider. The performance of it really is great. The wireless CarPlay looks fantastic. When you touch things, they happen immediately. Their performance is great. The response is great. Going back to the main system here, this is where you have all of your new buttons as far as the ambient lighting goes. Acura wanted to point out that there is much easier ways to get to the ambient lighting. Unfortunately, I won't be able to show you all the ambient lighting here because it isn't a bright studio here, but Sophian will show that to you guys when he gets one back at home. I'm sure all of these different themes look really great. If I hit this, let's see if I can actually see anything. Unfortunately, it's very dim. You can't really see it here, like I said, in the bright studio, but that's okay. I was concerned driving this the TLX actually that I had because it was so far forward. Acura has moved this forward 6 or 8 inches, they said. So you actually, sitting here, you can get to it. It's still a little bit far of a reach, but it's not that bad. The screen is the same size though, so it's not going to be any bigger. I think this is the correct move to do though, because Acura really needed to have a real touchscreen. It feels correct. It feels the right thing you should be doing here. The rest of the interior, there haven't been that many changes. You still have a power operated steering wheel. I'm going to move this a little bit more forward because again, it is a little bit further back from me. The instrument panel is still fully digital. You can do things like actually have your maps are there on the right hand side. When you scroll through for the wheel here, you can change things. Trip computer, obviously this is a pre-production car, so don't worry about those, all the check engine lights and things like that. Your settings, you can change that. You have your safety supports. You can make it blank if you'd like to. Your seat belts, driver attention level, a G meter, which I don't understand why car manufacturers put a G meter on here. Even if you do take your MDX Type S to the track, you're not going to be looking down that. You're going to be looking at the track. Your SH all-wheel drive meter, tire pressure, your maintenance indicators, and back to the navigation screen there. The screen looks pretty well. It's easy to read. You do have a heads-up display, which is really nice. You can cycle through there as well if you want different settings. Over on the left here, you have different buttons for your heads-up display adjustments, both brightness and positioning. Your Acura 360 monitor you can have here, a button to turn it on and off, traction control, parking sensors. Down over here in the center stack, this is something that Acura has done for a while with the dynamic mode selector. If you want to change that, you do have a Sport Plus, a normal settings. Down here in the drive mode, this is where you actually change drive, neutral, reverse. You pull back, press to go to park. Your auto start, stop, defeat, brake hold. You press this and you'll have power outlets come up, a USB-C and a USB-A. The wireless charger is now a lot bigger and a lot easier to put things in. Before you had like a little palm rest here where you'd actually be using the one-to-one positioning. Now it's just a big wireless charger, some storage here. You still have a volume knob, skip tracks and move to the next tracks there. Your cup holders, and in here you have a two-tiered center console. Open that up and you have 2 new USB-C chargers with a lot of storage. This area right here is a really nice leather area. And as I said, the seats, they are enhanced. They have a Type S embossed into the headrest there. The seats really look very nice. I appreciate how well finished they are. This whole cabin it really is a nice place to spend time. I'm really glad that Acura decided to give us a touchscreen instead of having the True TouchPad. It kind of finishes off this cabin to make it look really, really premium. Like the steering wheel, the sound system, and I'm an audiophile myself. However, I'm not going to be able to really play the system. Playing the system on camera, you can't really communicate the sound quality. So go to your dealer, see what you think for yourself. The headliner here is really nicely finished as well. You have a sunglass holder. You have LED lighting. You can open up this gigantic moonroof if you'd like to. It does slide all the way to the back. I'll hit it again. You have lots of opening, really, really nice. You can close it, you can tilt it. Let's go ahead and move to the back seat though. I'll show you guys what the space is like there. It'll be a little bit different and a little bit taller. Now, speaking of that audio system, I do want to mention that the base system will have 19 speakers. It is also a Bang & Olufsen system, and there's also on the base model MDX, there'll be a 12-speaker system. So a couple different options for the different audio systems. Looking at the back seat here, not too much has changed back here other than a rear seat reminder system. That's something that's new. I guess it wasn't on the pre-refresh model, but the materials here are also still very nice. You have a couple different options for getting into the third row, which I'll show you in just a second down there. I'll go ahead and get back here. Something that's different between me and Sophian, like I said, is he is much taller. I'm sorry, I am much taller than him. The seat does give you the option to recline and move it back and forth. Let's see here, if you hit the button over here and recline that, you can actually do that. I'll change this around and you can see plenty of headroom. It is not a lot of space. I definitely have been in cars that give you a little bit more space, but as a rear seat passenger, I'm comfortable back here. There's no issues with headroom or legroom. You have options right here for your climate control. Heated seats is going to be part of the advanced package, which, as I said, the Type S now comes standard with. You have 2 USB-Cs down there. Let's see here, you have a cigarette lighter. This one looks like it should be something, but it doesn't seem to give you anything. Matte pockets. The materials back here, I'll close the door and show you guys. You have the, as Sophian would say, peasant blockers. They're sunshades. You can see a little bit more of that ambient lighting actually back here. The real wood grain, the Bang & Olufsen dark metallic speakers. It's a nice place to spend time. I can get really comfortable back here and be pretty happy. Let's go ahead and jump into the third row though. I'll show you that. To do that, you're gonna hit this button here. The seat will push itself forward. To get back here, there's some space here. I mean, it's not a whole big amount. Your legroom is going to be 29.1 inches. I'll go ahead and get back here and show you guys. Again, Sophian was a little bit shorter than I am. This is with the seat moved all the way back. You can see there's plenty of space up there, but for me, not a lot. The floor is a little bit high. My knees are definitely up here against the seat back, but that's okay. You know, you have things like a USB-A. I'm surprised there's not a USB-C back here. Cup holders, it is hard touch, but it's not scratchy, it's fine. Materials are still nice. I could be back here if I needed to, but definitely third row is only gonna be for children, and it is only 2 across here. So the MDX is obviously a very important car for Acura. It's been one of their best-selling models, if not their best-selling model for a very long time. 2023, Acura sold 57,599 units of this car, and I expect they're going to do even more with this refreshed model. It's going to be available in May of this year, so only another month or two. That base model that I mentioned earlier is going to start in the $50,000 range. This Type S, which now again does come standard with the advanced package, is going to be in the $75,000 range. Acura said they only sell about 10% of Type S models, which I'm really surprised with. I would expect this to actually increase that sales mix, especially with how handsome this new car is. I love those new wheels. The colors are great. The styling differences, they're not super noticeable except for those wheels, but it does look like a handsome car. I would expect this car to continue to do well for Acura, continue to make it a sales leader or keep a sales leader status in the segment. Appreciate you guys dealing with me instead of Sophian. He'll have this car back at home. I'm sure in a couple of months here, when it gets in the fleet back in New York, he'll share his thoughts with you. We can get you guys some updated 0 to 60 times fuel economy. He'll be able to test out that interior with the new touchscreen and the new Bang & Olufsen 31 speaker sound system. Appreciate you guys dealing with me today instead of Sophian. If you made it this far, appreciate it. If you're also looking to see the latest cars that we're testing, be sure to continue to like us on Facebook, follow us on Instagram, and please continue to keep subscribing to the Redline Reviews YouTube channel for all latest reviews. Thank you all so much. We'll catch you in the next video.